Psychologist and businessman Lee Chambers from Bolton has been named among the top entrepreneurs in the country, and he recently won the Small Business of the Year category at the Greater Manchester Business Awards. But his journey to success has not been an easy one. In 2014, he lost the ability to walk due to a medical condition and had to learn how to walk again. I asked him about his childhood and the early signs he showed of being a pretty shrewd businessman.
For me, Stacey, I've always had that streak within me, and it kind of started back in school, trying to buy sweets and sell them at a higher price to my friends, and then kind of gradually grew to being something that I really focused on in terms of my own business, studying a degree in business, and then really starting to think, from my perspective, my parents worked incredibly hard. And I wanted to be able to then repay some of that by setting up a business and really making a difference to them. And that became a video game business, one of my own passions that I then decided to turn into a business that started in my parents' house, and it grew, and that has been a journey in itself. But now I've got a wellbeing business that really is, again, focused on my own passions based on the health challenges that I've been through, and now being able to empower other people in a positive way to make better health choices and businesses to support their employees.
So the things that you were learning at school were, the extracurricular stuff, let's say, and your entrepreneurial skills that you were developing at the time. What was your experience of school outside of that? I mean, were you a good student? Did you enjoy school? Or did most of what's been helpful to you later on, was that extracurricular stuff?
To be honest, I was quite academically gifted, but I struggled a lot with some of the social aspects of school, so trying to work out ways to do things that kind of pushed me outside of my comfort zone. And really, for me, I spent a lot of time researching, and some of that was around computers and how to be able to use data and research. And that's obviously came back in a big way in my own business life and in my life now with the type of work that I do. And I've found that, taking those different strands of things, my passions from outside of school and education, have actually been really helpful to develop the skill set that I've got today, and have really helped me to be resilient through some of the challenges that I've had, learning to walk again, some significant mental health issues, and a bit of a rocky corporate career as well. So often it's the things from outside and the experiences that actually help us to shape the skills that we can use alongside that passion to build things that have a lot of meaning and make a difference.
Well, it's certainly a good mix to be, nothing wrong with having a bit of academic nous as well as the entrepreneurial side of things as well. That's a great combination, I have to say. In terms of, take us back to that first business then, when you were setting up in the video games. How did you know where to begin, how to even start? I mean, you mentioned some of the research. What did that entail?
So to be honest, it was quite a challenging situation. I just lost my graduate scheme in the credit crunch in 2008. So it was actually from a place of trying to work out what I was going to do next. I came up with the plan about a year before, but I was told, you're inexperienced, you're young, go out and shape yourself in industry and come back when you're a bit more worldly wise. But being made redundant made me just think, I'll take that risk. And, at the time I was in my early 20s, a little bit, a renegade and a little bit doing things on the fly. And, that business became very successful very quickly. And it actually started in my parents' back bedroom and then took over the house and then, evolved into something a lot bigger. But for me, on those early stages, it was really learning. I was very open to trying to understand how to do things better, how to find efficiencies, and starting to see where I could get that support. And, part of that is now looking at this very campaign that we're doing and, Hiscox data, and realising that looking back, that support could have helped me even more based on that journey. And I think back to it now.
When you look at the different types of businesses you've been involved with, whether that's working under employment or you've set them up yourself, how do you go about choosing that path? Because I know there are some entrepreneurs who, for them, it's not particularly important what they go into. They look at, what's trending, what's the biggest profit margin. They make decisions based on that. Others follow the heart and the passions. It sounds like you followed your passions, but, you tell me, how have you chosen those different career paths?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question. And I think for me, it's always been trying to build a business that aligns with my own values and things that I believe, but also things that I'm interested in. Because I know that when you run a business, it can be challenging. You're going to have a lot of barriers and obstacles. And, even running a business today that I'm very passionate about, some days there's so many different things going on and I'm wearing so many different hats that it can feel like, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. But because it has so much meaning and passion to me, it helps me to be resilient through those times. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that yourself, Stacey, whether you've been in the ring, on the field, on the stage, having that resilience and passion for what you're doing really helps you to be resilient and get through any of those challenges. In fact, it helps you to grow into those challenges. And for me, actually having a meaning beyond the revenue of my business and having a measure of success which is about more than just the figures has actually really helped me to sustain my performance, but also really makes me happy getting up in the morning, building what I build and helping the people that I help.
Well, you can hear more from Lee before 4 o'clock when he talks about the health challenges he's faced when he lost the ability to walk and he had his immune system started to fail. It's quite an incredible story, and maybe you yourself have thought, I've got this thing that I love doing or making or creating. I'd love to make it into a business, and somebody like Lee can be an inspiration. You can find out more, get his tips and advice and his insights into starting up his own businesses still to come. Let's get you up to date now though with